Alright, this is video notes for section 9.4, solving polynomials in factored form. So, first we have a property called the zero product property. This property says that if A times B equals 0, then either A has to be equal to 0 and or B has to be equal to 0. One of the two has to be equal to 0. For example, if you have 0 times 4 gives you 0, 3 times 0 gives you 0, and 0 times 0 gives you 0. So either the first term, the second term, or both have to be 0 in order to get a property of 0. So what this tells us is that if we have the product or the multiplication of two polynomials and it's set equal to 0, then we know either one or both of the polynomials must be equal to 0 by the zero product property. So, for example, let's look at the product of two polynomials. Here we have x plus 2 times x minus 3 equals 0. So what this zero product property tells us is that either x plus 2 has to be equal to 0 or x minus 3 has to be equal to 0. Or both could be equal to 0. So, if we're given two polynomials multiplied together and they're equal to 0, we want to solve for x, but here we just solve each of these two equations that we've now written for x. So we can solve the first equation, x plus 2 equals 0. We just move the 2 over, so we get x is equal to negative 2. In our second equation, we have x minus 3 equals 0, so we add 3 to both sides, and we get x is equal to positive 3. So we have two solutions here for x, but we can check that each of these solutions are in fact true for these two polynomials. So if we plug in negative 2 for x into our polynomial, we have negative 2 plus 2 times negative 2 minus 3, and this is equal to negative 2 plus 2 gives us 0 times negative 2 minus 3 gives us negative 5, which 0 times negative 5 gives us 0. So it's true for negative 2. Let's check for the point x equals 3. So we plug in 3 for x, we get 3 plus 2 times 3 minus 3. 3 plus 2 gives us 5 times 3 minus 3 gives us 0. 5 times 0 also equals 0. So it's also true that x can equal negative 2 here, or x can equal 3. So both of these are in fact solutions. So go ahead and write out your solution as x is equal to negative 2, x is equal to negative 2 and 3. Alright, so go ahead and try this checkpoint doing the exact same thing, setting both of the polynomials equal to 0 and see which solutions you get for x.